This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Savaged, unfiltered. Your host, Michael Gardner.
Oh my goodness.
There is much that is not known about what has happened.
We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that.
The word of the day is steady. Until and unless we know the facts, it's very difficult to draw many conclusions.
So you have no idea right
now?
Oh,
there's another one. Another plane just hit. Right, oh my gosh, another plane has just hit. It hit another building, flew right into the middle of it. Explosion.
It would appear that there has been another major explosion, this one in the nation's capital. There is smoke in the air over the Pentagon.
Oh my God.
Have you seen any indication that would tend to confirm these reports, which have been growing in intensity, that a section of the World Trade Center has collapsed onto the street below? Do you see any confirmation of that in any direction?
Dan, that's what we were all running from. We heard the building coming down, and that's what we were running from.
What happened?
What? The building collapsed. Part of the building collapsed.
I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn. This nation stands with the good people of New York City.
Welcome, guys. Obviously you've heard the this special video that we plugged in of the remembrance of 9/11, of the fallen towers and the victims that literally had to experience that 21 years ago. Guys, it's been 21 years today since the horrific terrorist attack by cowardly people from the Middle East that tried to not only take down our country, but tried to destroy our way of life, our constitutional republic, and our society. Very sad times, guys. Very sad times. Let's remember today, as Patriot Day, we will never forget what happened 21 years ago. Guys, on the panel today is the return of Jimmy the Rant, as well as Joseph M. Lenard joining the show. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Thanks for having me on the show. Busy. On my way to the city of brotherly love right now for a football game, for youth football. So we'll see how that pans out throughout the day. So I'm actually driving, so it should be interesting.
Yeah. Well, don't crash into anything.
Instead of just driving people crazy, you're actually literally driving today, huh? Just kidding, people. I'm just teasing them. But
today I'm just driving.
Yeah, but seriously, 21 years. There are a whole generation. There are people who are just legally taking their first drink today. They were just born that day 21 years ago. It's sort of a weird way to put it into perspective, but I think that drives home the point about the time frame we're talking here.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I definitely have my difference in opinion on who perpetrated the attack, but I guess for the sake of the show, it's about honoring them, the people that we did lose, and unfortunately, if you're not awake right now, as it is, whatever I say really isn't going to change your mind. So, I lived right across the water. I remember where I was that day. I was in high school. And when I went home, I looked out the window and seen the buildings on, the smoke coming off the buildings, and actually watched them fall down personally out the window of my house. So, real crazy day, 21 years ago.
Yeah, it was a very sad day for myself as well. I was actually in my first year of college, and was actually studying at Manhattan Tech, not too far from where the
Savaged, unfiltered.
And living in the Lower East Side of Manhattan at the time, right on the corner, basically just about a Canal and Broadway. Jimmy could probably reference this very well. He's still lives in the same area. But I could tell you, just living in that area, not too far from where the Twin Towers were, just possibly was about maybe 8-9 blocks away. It sounded like a war zone, pretty much. The experience I experienced, I can remember like it was yesterday, guys, where the entire building where I was living literally was shaking. Like there was like an aftershock, an earthquake in the city that day. And a lot of people can remember that type of experience where literally buildings all around us were shaking. We felt that tremor type of sound effect in the buildings. I could tell you just the impact of when the first building came down.
Yeah, and it obviously affected everyone in some way. It affected you guys certainly a lot more being there, but it struck everybody, and it struck me a bit more than perhaps somebody in Iowa who'd never been to New York, but me being from Michigan, because I was actually in New York in August of 2001 for a seminar regarding certain software training. And the saying, there but for the grace of God go I. Had somebody wanted to take vacation that week or something, I could have landed up being there that day for that training instead. So it's, there but for the grace of God go I. I was like, wow. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I have personal accounts, people I've spoke to. The day that it happened, obviously, tons of people were kind of gathered up at the high school and surrounding schools because their parents worked in the city. There was people's parents who worked in these buildings that perished that day. A buddy of mine used to work on I think he worked on the 50-something floor of like the North Tower. And, luckily for him, he got there a little late that day. So he did like audio visual stuff, got there a little bit late. He goes, oh, there's a fire, a fire drill, whatever. I'm going to go up the block and like smoke a joint or whatever. And he went up there to go do his thing. As he's coming back, he goes, I think this is getting out of control. I think there's something not right about this, because of everything that was going on. So he actually jumped on a ferry to get out of the city before everything got shut down. He actually seen the first or second building come down as he was on the ferry. Felt his heart drop into his stomach. And a lot of crazy stories like that. I have a brother in my fraternity. He lost, he posts every year. He lost an uncle who was a firefighter. So a lot of people in this area still affected deeply. Kid that I know very well too in my town. His aunt was the Dust Lady. You ever see the Dust Lady photos?
Yeah.
So that was his aunt. She's from Bayonne, New Jersey, and she passed away. She actually, she developed cancer. So there's a lot of people that we knew as well that were first responders. I know a gentleman who was a first responder, and I think they actually it actually ended, but they were giving them annual checkups. So I think it actually ended in 2020. So they gave them like 19 years or maybe a little bit before that. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. I don't know exactly, but they were actually doing annual checkups to make sure that these people didn't develop any type of cancer, complications. Because listen, the dust cloud to that thing was filled with asbestos, filled with all types of materials that are known to cause cancer, complications, emphysema, COPD. So very, very wild.
Yeah, I can remember that, Jimmy, where literally Joseph, people from as far south as South Jersey, with Jimmy referring to the funnel, basically it was a cloud, like a funnel cloud, basically, almost in its shape. Literally, you could see this cloud of smoke stretching as far south as Point Pleasant and Seaside Heights, New Jersey, which is literally getting into the points of South Jersey. Literally, it stretched literally across the eastern coast between two states of New York and the eastern coast of New Jersey. So, I mean, when I seen that, actually, just you would see this, Joseph, for days upon days. It lasted for, oh man, what was it, Jimmy? Like at least like 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, you definitely seen the smoke. So you were able to see it very clearly from Exchange Place in Jersey City. So it was like a clear view of that. You were able to see it from the turnpike if you were driving into Hoboken, anywhere, between the exits. So the smoke cloud was there for probably about 3 weeks. The cleanup was years. The World Trade Center, the actual Path Station didn't come back to life until they built the Oculus, and like 2012, 2013. I'd have to look that up. I wasn't taking that train at the time to the city. I just remember.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah, it was a long time. I want to get some of Joseph's responses. You said you were you reside. You weren't in Detroit at the time, right, Joseph? You reside somewhere else.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was in Detroit on the day of 9/11. I was just saying about being in New York the month before, and had circumstances fallen a little differently, I could have ended up being there. So, but I wanted to talk about like what Jimmy was saying about survivors and touch on the issue. We haven't lost them all to cancer and things like that. We've lost some of them to suicide too, because survivor's guilt is a form of PTSD. The why did I live when they all died, and the stress of that and the depression that sets in, and questioning life and purpose. And so I with my book being about terrorism, and obviously 9/11 is the biggest chapter in the book because it's the most ground-shaking, earth-shattering terrorist event that we've had to date. Hopefully they can't top that. Hopefully they don't come anywhere close again. But that's an important sub-issue to deal with.
The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. That all changes starting right here and right now. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. It's going to be only America first, by American and hire American. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. We will not fail. Our country will thrive and prosper again. We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth. We will be protected by the great men and women of our military and law enforcement. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth. And we will bring back our dreams. We will face challenges. We will confront hardships. But we will get the job done. Together we will determine the course of America and the world for many, many years to come. This moment is your moment. It belongs to you.
They don't need just physical help. A lot of them need mental help dealing with the issues of survivor's guilt, and of course our soldiers fighting the war on terror, dealing with their own their PTSD, and the issue of 22 veterans a day take their own lives. So, I mean, it's much broader, of course, than 9/11. And I also wanted to throw out, while we're talking about 9/11 today, I also talk about 3/11 in Madrid and other events. So obviously our hearts go out to everyone involved or who have died or survived in any terrorist event. But today, obviously, being the somber remembrance of 9/11, I don't like to use the word anniversary. To me, anniversary is like a wedding anniversary, something happy, your birthday.
Yeah, I like to use it, Joseph. I like to use the term memorial, right? To memorize memorialize the people that faced that horrific day, 21 years ago. Before I get Jimmy here back on here, I want to basically plug something in, a very rare video that I've never shown anybody on social media, nor even on the platform here on the podcast. Now, this video, folks, is 21 years old. It's a rare video taking off a very old cell phone that I, no longer have, but I kept it. I downloaded it 21 years ago and put it on a flash drive, and I continue to hold this video. This video was never shown to Fox 5 of New York. It was never shown to any of the media companies. The reason for that is because I feel that this is very personal and very what I experienced, folks, is it's very sad. Okay, and some of this video I'm about to show you is going to be shown for the first time on not only on social media but on this podcast platform. Like I said, some of it's sad, but some of it you could hear in the video of myself screaming out to a friend that I lost. That was just, obviously a lot older than I was at the time, 22 years old, by the name of Jason Cascone. Okay, a little bit about this before I plug in the video, guys. A really good friend of mine. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a little teary-eyed because he means a lot to me. Finishes training on September 10th, 2001. The next morning, his mother woke him and said that there was a fire at the World Trade Center. He remembers he transported to his first assignment with 50 other firefighters. There was this chaplain on the bus, and he was given absolution to everyone. It's not about me, Jason said. It's about the people of New York. Guys,
I'm sorry for getting a little teary-eyed, but you got to check this video out.
You with me, John? I don't know. What's happening? Hey, sir! Let's just get back. Get back. Hey, sir! You with me, John?
They just think there's going to be another explosion. Right?
There might be another plane coming.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm sorry, Jason. It's Joseph. Excuse me. I'm sorry. It's a really. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joseph. The floor is yours, buddy.
No, I fully understand, and I mean it is clearly a lot more personal to and for you. But even myself, not knowing anyone personally, it for some reason, something deep inside me suffered a severe loss too. And like before the show today, I still have on in the background while we're talking the Italian Grand Prix on DVR, because if I were watching all the remembrances that are on today, like I normally do every year, I watch them because I want to be brought back to that time and that place. I would be all broken up like you too. It affects so many people at such a deep level for whatever reason, and I'm concerned, as Rudy Giuliani just yesterday was saying, he is concerned that we are, quote, in more danger, unquote, than we were even before 9/11. And I've issued press release the other day, terrorstrikes.info/press releases, about the drone strike on al-Zawahiri. There's going to be retaliations, obviously, and we've seen that already with Salman Rushdie. So there's going to be increased localized attacks. But like Rudy, I fear, can there be another 9/11? Not exactly like 9/11, of course, but will there be another major terror strike? Because we certainly know they want to do that to us again.
Yeah, and thank you for coming in, Joseph. I had to, again, folks, I'm sorry for getting emotional, but that video, it still affects me, to this day. 21 years, I lost my friend, I lost my best friend, a firefighter on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Like I said, was just finishing his training the day before this sad day had happened on September 10th.
It's again that coincidence, the life of order, and had he not completed it on the 10th, he probably wouldn't have been sent.
Yes, but he paid the ultimate sacrifice, not only for his city of New York City, Joseph, but but for his family as well too, because you have to, if you just watch that video, in this episode, it's a very, very, very sad and emotional video, not only for myself, literally screaming out to him, don't go in the building. And, I now understand 21 years why he went in that building. He had to,
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. But it takes a very special kind of soul to be a first responder, to be so selfless willing to sacrifice yourself for others. Well, same true for a lot of the military too. But I mean, like my cousin went into the military, and she just became an Air Force secretary. So I mean, not all who serve in the military are putting their lives on the line, but our Leos, our police, our fire, our EMTs even going into harm's way on a daily basis when they kiss their wife or their spouse, their kids. They don't know whether they're returning that day. And that takes a very special kind of soul. And I certainly hope there's a very elite place reserved for them in heaven.
I do, Sue. Jimmy mentioned a few other key points here in today's show. Jimmy, you want to recap on some of that, bud?
Well, I think that if I was going to add to it, I think I kind of approach this day a little bit different than maybe both of you guys. So I approach it more with anger and frustration, and that's due to the fact that I honestly do not believe that the real perpetrators were ever caught. I do believe it was one of the biggest false flag terror attacks on the country, and that there's an inside job element to it. And I know that's not the popular narrative, and I know that's not the narrative that is fed to people. And I think some people get upset. I do not in any way want to shit on the memory of anyone's family members or the people who've lost. I'm just upset about the fact that it did happen. I'm upset about many different things that took place that day, the 9/11 commission after, and there's a lot of things that happened after that day that also set the precedence for a lot of different things. We went to war right away. We were in a 20-year war, and again, not only did we lose people in the towers, but we lost all those people serving in the military as well for something that I believe was partially set up by certain elite families in the country involved in politics and money. So I feel a tremendous type of way towards this day, and I do believe that and we want to keep their memory alive, and we definitely want to. We want the truth. I'm a 9/11 truther. I've been that way since 2001. Since the day it happened, I never believed the narrative. And like I said, I approach it with anger. I approach it with frustration because I don't want these people to have died in vain. I don't want them to have died for nothing, Well,
I want to make a quote. Yeah, I want to make a quote here, and I think we lost Joseph, but I know there's some storms affecting here in Florida as well with me, and then obviously I see some storms being coming through Detroit, so it might have been a power issue with him. So we sent another invite out to him. Hopefully he can come back into the show. But you mentioned one thing here. I want to make a quick quote from the former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, at his time, and I quote that. We have met the worst of humanity with the best of humanity. I can recap on some of that, but what's your insights on that, Jimmy?
Well, I agree. I think the nation became strong. We were strong for a short period of time after that, and then they rallied our boys up and sent them to war in the Middle East. And I think it was Bush's agenda to finish the war that his father started. I don't believe that we necessarily went to war to honor the people who passed away in 9/11. I think they went there for their own agendas, and they needed a catalyst to start that war. And I believe they sacrificed those people in those buildings, which is, I mean, think about it. Like, it's just, how could anyone sit there and do something like that? How can an evil like that exist in the world where people were, in my opinion, were sacrificed to be able to be a catalyst to start a war? and to
Yeah.
move forward. I mean, there was a lot of different anomalies that day, a lot of different anomalies in general. I don't know, man. It's crazy, and again, yes, we rallied behind the people in this country rallied behind each other. We went to war, sent us into 20-year war that went nowhere. We pulled out of Afghanistan. It's the same condition it was when we left. Same thing with most of those other countries in the Middle East. So we didn't really accomplish anything there. And I hope the truth comes out one day, or the truth that I believe in. Listen.
Well, it affects so many people differently, Jimmy. It affected me very emotionally. Like I see the same sentiment coming off of you, with anger and frustration. To this day, I feel a lot of different emotions, Jimmy. I feel anger, I feel frustrated, and I feel emotional. I lost a lot of friends during that sad day, and I think especially today, 21 years later, we have to look at as a reminder of just what the hell we're becoming as a nation. You know what I mean?
No, I absolutely agree. And I just think that I just want people to understand out there that people who do believe, who are 9/11 truthers, okay, people who don't believe in the mainstream narrative, they are just as frustrated, they're just upset, and they want the truth because we want to know why. We want to know why we lost our family members that day, why we lost mothers, brothers, sisters, daughters. Why did we lose our first responders that day? We want to know exactly why. We want to know the truth. We want to know, so much stuff going in. You can have a whole special on that, and I know that that's not where you want it to go. But to all the people who lost somebody, I feel for you. I don't know what to say.
I love this Rakuten app. Look at that. I open the app, find the store that I want to use, start buying, and gets me tons of cash back. I just got paid to shop.
My favorite thing about Rakuten is just getting money back in the mail.
I mean, who wouldn't want cash back?
Sign up today. The way that individual feels, and I'll try my best to understand it. I'll try my best to.
Yeah, hold on, bud. I don't mean to interrupt, but I obviously, again, I do want to apologize for getting emotional over the show. I want to apologize to you, Jimmy, and Joseph and everybody else that's tuning in. Like I said, guys, it's going to affect different people different ways. One of the reasons why I decided to do this show, Jimmy, was to show the different angles of how it affects people in so many different ways. And I want to come out with another quote here. What literally, another quote that was said by Mayor Giuliani, that the attack was intended to break our spirit. It has ultimately failed, and our hearts are broken, but they continue to beat, and the spirit of our city has never been stronger. I agree with that. I agree that it was intended to break our spirit, and sadly, Jimmy, and I'm sure you could see this up in the tri-state area of New Jersey and New York and Philly, where people, they're a lot different now than they were 21 years ago. We were as one nation 21 years ago. We were more united than ever after the Twin Towers fell. It strengthened our society. I mean, I don't know if you see that, but I thought it strengthened our society back then than it is now.
Well, definitely, it created more patriotism. People were more patriotic. They were more mindful of living in one of the best countries in the world, and they really rallied behind the flag and behind the meaning of it. In the last 21 years, we've seen that decay into craziness. The big cities are, they're cesspools for violence, they're cesspools for very unpatriotic groups. I mean, if you compared us from 2001 after 9/11 happened and see the actual support that people have for the country, and then you fast forward it to 2020, where people are marching down the street burning the flags and telling us this country doesn't mean shit, Yeah, it has changed. It has changed a lot. But I don't want to take away from the actual day today by talking about those things. I want to talk about, like I said, and I know you got emotional, and it's okay, man. That's what you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel like that. If you lost a loved one, you're supposed to be upset. If you lost a friend, you're supposed to be upset. And you know what? Like I said, we may have a difference of opinion on how the event happened, right? But you should feel all those emotions. You should be upset. You should want to direct that, and if you're angry, you want to find, dig a little bit more into it. If you're angry, research a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's just do so many crazy things with that day. But yeah, I
Yeah.
will say that the country did come together. I remember Hudson County. Hudson County, we had a little bit of a weird thing. The day that the attack actually happened, believe it or not, there was people in the streets dancing in Journal Square in Jersey City, a section of Jersey City. There was a small section of people that were actually celebrating. That's proven. They were Arab, and I believe they were Muslim. So there was a small section of people celebrating that. That got shut down quick. But after that, which is sick, it's crazy. Why would you celebrate that, right? But after that,
yeah,
the count, like the state really came together. There was people driving up and down with flags. There was makeshift parades. You got to remember, we were the triage area for a lot of people as well. People got shipped over on ferries, and they landed in Hudson County. We had to, you had not only did you have the first responders who lost their life, but you had the first responders too that had to deal with the after effects of that as well. They were also in mourning. They lost their brothers and sisters in arms that day. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of people. There was a lot of guys that were on the job, police and firefighters, who didn't perish that day, who felt who felt that. They put themselves in those people's shoes. They said that could have been me. And they had to deal with the after effects of that. And also, a big thanks to all the volunteers that came through. They were feeding people, handing out coffee, the search and rescue efforts. Let's not forget those people too, man, because they put a lot of work in. They put a lot of time, and they really tried their best to save as many people as they could.
Yeah. Well, little timeline here of just what went down. I always ask this to some listeners and people I come across, especially on this day. It's going to get some response from different types of people on how they looked at it. I can respect your view on this, Jimmy. You still think it may have been an inside job. A lot of people seem to think that. I would hope not to think like that. I mean, I would hope to think it wasn't like that, but I do respect your view on it, and I'm not going to say different. But I can remember 8 o'clock in the morning that day, just literally just waking up, and like I said, guys, I was in my apartment at the time. I was literally my first year of college, and just waking up on the Lower East Side. I can remember. It was a peaceful day. It really was. Very, kind of mixed type of weather day, and everything was normal. Fast forward to roughly what was it? Like 8:42 in the morning that day. Fox 5 had basically brought up a broadcast of possibly a United Airlines flight that was hijacked. And after hearing that, I was like, what? Hijacked? I didn't really think of anything. I don't know about you, Jimmy, but I thought maybe it's just some crazy lunatic. And, that was an everyday thing usually, or not everyday thing, but people didn't look at like somebody hijacking the plane as like a really serious thought. Because yes, there are some type of lunatics in the country today, and they still are. But after hearing that, I was like, But then fast forward later, almost like 10, 20 minutes later, Fox 5 makes another announcement saying that American Airlines Flight 11 crashes into the North Tower. And I knew something was going on before they even aired it, because you could hear this loud, like kind of like a missile going over the city. And I heard that loud as clear as day, heard it clear as day. And after hearing that, I was like, something's going on. And as soon as it hit that damn building, like literally my entire apartment complex just rattled. Where were you at that time, Jimmy?
During the whole event, I mean, I was in high school that day. So, teachers came in to kind of brief the students on what was going on. And they brought, they had the old school TV that you roll in on the wheels. They rolled it in, they put the news on, and then they said, you know what? If you guys want to head out of here, if you guys want to bounce, leave. You know what I mean? Because we don't know what's going on. Most people left anyway. They just cut class in between, classes and just went home. And that's kind of what I did. And, first thing you do, you put the news on. And I was speaking with my mother, and I was just like, are we going to war? And she said, maybe. And I'm watching it, and I'm looking out the window because I could see it out the window. But obviously, you got somebody who's on site right there on the news. So I'm watching that. So it was a crazy day, crazy week to come, crazy months, crazy 21 years after. And I just want to touch on that because I don't say these things to try to. I'm not trying to offend anyone. And I think people should know that. But when you said that I still think that way, well, I still think that. I mean, you have to understand, Mike. We literally do shows on your podcast about the pandemic, about the government lying about vaccines and whatnot. So, is it that crazy to believe that the government? And I'm asking you as personally, right? Would it be so far-fetched to believe that this was a inside false flag terror attack, right? We also do shows on not being accurate.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, Jimmy, if I may add, I mean, I get what you're saying. And like I said, folks, I'm lost for words. I really am. I'm gonna be this host here for the first time saying this on my show. I'm lost for words. I still don't know what to believe 21 years later. I want to believe, and Jimmy, listen, buddy, I really want to believe that it was an act of terror. But my mind also brings me back to what Jimmy's saying. I'm not just saying this just to say it. I'm being very sincere. I'm being very openly and honest on the show. My mindset also goes to like, what if? Okay, we're built as humans to think that. What if? Just what if it was a coup, part of the government to create this with the Middle East, to bring us into war, to create that oil type of, greedy, just everything about oil and fuel, because that's what it more or less it went to. We seen that concept, right, Jimmy, go right into the oil thing with George W., right? George W. Bush made an announcement, which I want to plug into the show of the famous speech that he made during 9/11, where he said that this is an act of war, okay? That we will not let these terrorists take our country down. Now, after hearing that, there was a lot of speculation and a lot of, accusations and everything else saying, what did George W. Bush mean? Check this video out, guys.
By committing murder in its name. This military action is a part of our campaign against terrorism, another front in a war that has already been joined through diplomacy, intelligence, the freezing of financial assets, and the arrests of known terrorists by law enforcement agents in 38 countries. Given the nature and reach of our enemies, we will win this conflict by the patient accumulation of successes, by meeting a series of challenges with determination and will and purpose. Today we focus on Afghanistan, but the battle is broader.
Now, so hey, how you doing, Soslan?
Hello,
Soslan,
guys.
yes, how you doing, pal?
Oh, I'm doing
Hey,
good.
Sos.
Hey, Jimmy, sorry about that. I just had to walk a family member home. Their son passed away, so I was dealing with the family. And so I'm a hospice pastor, so that's what I had to take
Sorry
care
to
of.
hear that.
Well,
Yeah.
sorry for the family, but I just had to be at the bedside, so it was a somber moment for the family. And no, it was good. Okay, so I just want to tell you, somebody also reached out to me and speaking this morning. Tommy Nation, okay, reached out to me again this morning, and he is scrutinizing. And I've had a lot of controversy on my Facebook post. I don't know if you've seen it, Jimmy, or not. But what do you think?
I did not see it. Unfortunately, I've been extremely busy. Why don't you elaborate on it?
Yeah, Sas, hold that thought. No, Sas, I want to give you the floor a little bit with that sentiment. As Soslin's just coming into the conversation, we had Joseph on the panel, and I wanted to allow the listeners to understand this here, and I'm giving open, honest, sentiment on the show here. This is affecting Joseph very emotionally. Okay, I just want to say that one of the reasons why he's not with us right now is he had to depart. Because he is very emotional. And like I said, guys, I did say this earlier in the week, and Sas can vouch for me, that this show will be very sad and very personal on not only myself, but probably some of the hosts here and co-hosts on the show, as well, the listeners. So one of the reasons why Joseph is not on the panel is he had to depart early because he had said, we just received this just moments ago, that it's just not a right time for Joseph to be on the show. So I have to respect that. Thank you very much, Joseph, for trying your best to be part of the show. And I respect that sentiment. But yes, back to your conversation that you're having, Soslan. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I just plugged in a video with the former president, George W. Bush, giving that speech. We're on the part right now where Jimmy and I are discussing that just what if this could have been not an act of war, but possibly a conspiracy into a conspiracy that actually could be true, thinking that it could have been an inside job. A lot of people are pointing to that. I want to get into that in a minute, but I want to reflect something real quick with Sas about this Tommy Nation guy, because it has a lot to do with what we're talking about, Jimmy. What we're facing now as a nation. With just rhetoric that should not be brought up. Soslan and I had a show just yesterday, a very sad show honoring the late Queen Elizabeth II, and some of the nasty responses coming out of that. Oh, she was a woman that supported pillaging, and she possibly colonized half of Africa, this and that, and like a lot of responses, TikTok responses saying, fuck the queen, fuck her now, fuck her then, fuck her forever. That is just a total respect. If you want to disrespect somebody, hold your damn opinions to yourself, especially in this week.
Especially when you have family over in England that are mourning the loss, and you have to have some sort of decency.
Well, I hate to say it to you guys, but I do not agree with the monarchy of England either. So, I mean, listen, I respect if you want to celebrate a king or queen or whatever, but we gave that shit up in 1776. And George Washington they wanted to make him king of America, and he said no. So I am not with kings or queens. I'm not a part of that. And listen, history is history. There's a lot of bad parts to history, but I don't believe in royal families and none of that stuff. So sorry, I will have a big fan of that. I can care less about a Queen of England, so I know I probably don't feed into what you guys are going to say, but I had to say that because I don't necessarily agree with shit like that. I care about America, 100% American issues. The way that the British clown us with what's going on in our politics, I can care less about some kind of royal lineage. they, at the end of the day, they have done a lot of atrocities, and they've protected Prince Andrew for a long time, and obviously we know where he's been hanging out. So what else are they hiding over there? So
we'll leave it at that then. Well,
Yeah.
we'll get back to the topic here of 9/11. Sauce, did you want to add anything into this conversation, buddy?
Yes. So, first of all, my heart goes out to the families that have been affected in 9/11, not only in the Twin Towers, but the Pentagon, as well as the field in Pennsylvania. But we can't also forget the 4 members that were brutally murdered in Benghazi of the 11th of September in 2012, and how that should have been easily prevented, but it was not by the Hillary Clinton State Department. So my family goes out to those 4 individuals. And what happened to Jimmy?
He's driving. He said he was going to have some issues or something. He was actually driving to Philadelphia, or somewhere in Philly. So we might have lost him or something. But Sauce, I know this. A lot of people are going to kind of question me right now with this episode. It may be dark, it may be personal, but Sauce, you got to remember this day is looked at on a lot of different angles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's a lot. And we also have to look at it, whether if it was like an action inside job, which do I believe? There's some speculations, and I am kind of on the fence on it. If whether like this is one way of like continuing the war machine, I feel like that this was one way of continuing the war machine, because we look at, well, we don't have any major wars, and we look at what's been going on in Ukraine. So I'm starting to think that maybe it was.
I've got an idea for a Heinz ketchup commercial. I was at this super posh restaurant. Super posh. The type of place that has chandeliers and paintings on the wall and way too many forks. I think classical music was playing, but maybe it was jazz. No, definitely classical. The hostess walks up to me and she says, "Mr. Sheeran, is this your first time dining with us?" And I say, "Yep." The waiter comes over. He's telling me about the specials. Super fancy vegetables, fancy sauces. I said, "Sounds fancy." So fast forward and the food comes. The waiter goes on to tell me, "We are proud to present this farm-to-table blah blah blah, posh and fancy blah blah blah, with a side of blah blah blah." The food looked good. I just thought there was something missing. So I reach into my bag and I take out the only thing that can complete me. And at that point, the whole world came to a stop. And the waiter was screaming through his eyes. So that's my idea. Do you want to do it?
Savaged, unfiltered.
What's been really going on in the federal government, and how they've been going against the American people from day one. So one way to cover it up is to cause devastation within the country, attack within the country.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what ifs, a lot of what ifs. For those who that are listening, guys, again, we brought up the show, with the remembrance of 9/11. It's affected me on a personal scale. Again, I do apologize for getting emotional on the show in the beginning. I showed truths, folks. I showed complete truth and very, very accurate emotions on this show earlier. Got a little emotional, got a little heated. But, folks, I'll never forget 9/11. I'll never forget 9/11 because, Sauce is probably just hearing this for the first time. This is something that I've never said on the airwaves, on social media, on just anything in the general public. I lost a true friend, Sauce. I lost a firefighter that was a firefighter, 22 years old at the time.
Yeah.
That paid his life and his sacrifice to try to save as many people as possible in the North Tower. remembering that sad day. Folks, I lived in New York City. I lived on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I lived in a small apartment building on the 5th floor, a very small studio, probably no bigger than an average hotel room, on the corner of Canal and Broadway, just some 8-9 blocks away from the towers. I felt horror, fear. I felt bitterness. I felt anger. I felt frustration. I felt guilt. I felt all those emotions that you would feel in an environment that was put in place. I felt it all. Now, the guilt, I'm going to go right here, Sas. I felt like I could have done a lot more to possibly help.
Yeah.
It just, the words, like I said, it affected my life, and it still does to this day.
Yeah. And I think it's truly important to remember that. I'm just lost at words, because I cannot really relate, because first of all, I was not in America at that time. We were in more of a war zone, so I can't really relate. I don't really have much to say to that.
Yeah. So I'm sure, some of the environment that you experienced was similar to the environment that we experienced 21 years ago in New York City. A very sad and scary time in America.
Yeah. And also one of the environments that I also remember, I shouldn't say it was correlating to 9/11, but it was when the school in Vladikavkaz, about 2 blocks away, got burned down, where the Russian military and the Chechens boarded up the school, and over 410 students died and 210 teachers died in 2004. That's as close as I can get to remember.
Yeah.
That was a sad time.
It was a sad time.
Savaged, unfiltered.
I want to go over some of these timestamps that I will never forget, and I'm going to go by the timestamps here, folks. That right around 10:29 a.m. Showed a very pretty much a terrifying scene in New York City, where they showed desperate people fleeing the chaotic area, spreading into Broadway and Greenwich, West and Liberty Streets. A dense, hurtful miasma of dust, literally blankets over Lower Manhattan at this time. Folks, there are no words to explain this. Around 10:30, New York Governor George E. Pataki, I can never pronounce his name, declares a state of emergency. About 11 minutes later, the president, George W. Bush, is aboard Air Force One, which is headed towards Jacksonville to join up with jets providing air cover. On the phone from a protected area of the White House, Vice President Cheney presses Bush to not return quickly to Washington. 10:46, U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell cut short his trip to Latin America to return to the United States. 10:50, nerves around the Pentagon as rumors spread that there is a second attack plane coming. Roughly about 10:53, New York's prime elections now, folks, are postponed. The primaries in New York City are closed. The first time in recorded history of a lifetime that this has affected New York City's primary elections. And then the last timestamp I'm going to give, because these timestamps, folks, hit people very, very hard and very, very personally. Around 10:54, Israel evacuates all diplomatic missions. Now, there's more timestamps, folks, but you can actually look at all these in the book that Mr. Rudy Giuliani had written, which came out of the company Life, entitled "One Nation: America Remembers September 11, 2001," written through the vision of Mayor Rudolph W. Giuliani. Sas, an act of war of a lot of people calling this 9/11. What do you see of this 21 years later?
Like, has it brought the nation together 21 years later?
Well, I can remember with some of the experience that I experienced firsthand when I was 19 years old, living in lower Manhattan. I remember people more united than ever. I don't remember hatred. I don't remember seeing violence. I do not remember seeing biased media outlets. I do not remember seeing any of the rhetoric on social media. I mean, social media really didn't exist back then. We had social media, but there was only one network, and that was, if everybody remembers clearly, MySpace. Yeah. I don't remember seeing any of that, Sas.
No. And it's interesting because from learning history, I know that Americans were united together, where they were Ukrainian flag. So that's one thing that I don't really understand, especially during this time, and how Madison is doing a special ceremony to commence what's going on in Ukraine, not what's going on 21 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to bring up this segment, but I'll wait here. I'll answer what you said. What were you saying against us?
So where did the disconnect go? Because we should be remembering what happened today, not only to the families that over 3,000 families plus, and not only that, but what happened to the ambassador in Benghazi. What happened to the sentiment, and now where we have to do a commencement of Ukraine instead of worrying about the American people, what happened 21 years ago.
I think the disconnect of what I can probably call it, I think it happened just, and folks, this is my own personal opinion, please. I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm really not. Like I said, today's going to be looked at on a lot of different angles. You really can't get upset with anybody. And if you are upset, then maybe this show is not for you, or this episode is not for you. And I respect that. But it needs to be addressed. I do believe that, Sas. It needs to be addressed. Where the disconnect went, I think it happened during the middle of the 2000s, where people were very angry, not only with themselves, but with society, of how our nation is becoming. We're losing the patriotism. We're losing the conservatism. We're losing the united part of the states of America. We're becoming a very selfish nation.
Yeah.
And I think that basically completes it to its accuracy. We're more self-centered now. We're very selfish as a nation, Sas.
Yeah.
Extremely selfish.
Well, because it's interesting, because reports are coming out saying that Joe Biden is blaming the MAGA Republicans for the situation we're in.
Yeah, I seen that last week. And I think that is
arrogant, and that's the other thing that I have. Okay, at what point do you say enough? Okay, so here's another thing that I have a problem with. Okay, you're coming up on a very sacred holiday, the American people, that touches a core to the American holiday. Okay, pardon my language. Okay, this is going.
What's that, Sas?
Hell out of me. Fuck. Would you tell your president? come together in unity as one nation under God, not come together as, oh, you know what? Wow, this is MAGA Republicans. You know, this is their fault why this happened. No, stop fucking blaming other people. Just as a president, come together, have some sort of brains, and just say, okay, you know what, America, let's wave our American flag in together as one nation under God. I mean, come on, folks. Sorry, I'm getting heated.
No, I understand your. I understand your demeanor. It's
getting old. It's getting old. It's getting really old. Undermining and pissing off one side of America, because at one point you can do that all you want. What you're doing is, what the Biden administration is doing is that he is poking the bear. Okay, but the bear is going to eventually wake up, and when it wakes up, it's going to bite back. You know, and at what point? And I hate to say it, but it's going to bite back at midterms, because you can't. Then you're using that deplorable statement that Hillary Clinton used right before Benghazi happened. You know, you're using that statement. And what happened? 4 Americans had to pass away in a brutal onslaught that should have been prevented. Oh, what difference does it make? Her famous statement. That just pissed the hell out of me. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know it's a Sunday. I'm sorry. This is a very somber moment.
It's all right, Sas. I get it. I don't know. You know, the whole MAGA Republicans, excuse me, you know, with the Benghazi thing with Hillary, you go to question, Toss. Are these people really for America? Are they for America, or are they for a fucking third world nation? Because I mean, you know, again, folks, I know it's Sunday. We're not supposed to cuss on Sunday, but you know what? I'm going to show my anger here on the show, because it pisses me the fuck off that we become a nation of decline and we're looked at as a laughing stock on the damn world stage. Every country in the world is laughing at us. And we're supposed to be the most powerful nation in the freaking world. And we're looked at as a freaking banana republic because we have freaking leadership that would rather put us last and put other people first. Yes, I understand that this land is full of opportunities, and it's for everybody in this world. And guess what, folks? Did you ever hear this one expression? One expression by the late, great Winston Churchill. And also, too, by the Queen Elizabeth. I know people, they look at the King and Queen with demise. I can respect Jimmy the Rant's view on it to an extent, but here's my view. Okay, I'm sorry, Jimmy. I hope I'm not offending you, buddy, if you're going to listen to this episode right after the recording's over. But here's my sentiment on this. Okay, whether you agree with the King and Queen, whether you agree with that form of democracy in folks, without that democracy, we would not be a country. We would not be the United States of America, because guess what? We fled from that crap sauce. We fled from that oppression and that oppression. We've made this country our own. And guess what? I am tired of seeing people shit on this country so damn much that they're willing to destroy it. Winston Churchill said this, and I'm going to quote this, Sauce, and then I'll give you the floor if you want to say anything here. Yeah. Winston Churchill said that this is the last country of sovereignty, freedom, and liberty. If we lose it, there is no other country on the face of this planet that we can reestablish this as another nation.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that pisses me off. Okay, I understand that this whole king and queen. I understand. But there's a reason why we have history, because we have to go, because it makes us what this country is great. We bring patriotism because we learn from our mistakes. We bring patriotism. We have the American flag so we don't repeat what happened in England. But even they have learned from their mistakes. So, and the fact that we have people like blaming one side and the other. Okay, I'm sorry. If you don't really like this country, just get the fuck out of this country. Because why don't you bring in pro-patriotic people that love this country? Like, for instance, I do. I bleed red, white, and blue because I have not only served this country, but I've been fighting for our freedoms, and it's getting undermined by the satanic, demonic people that fucking hate this country and that think that we owe them everything, and that, oh, poor me, let's worry about me, not let's worry about your brother and sister that might have a broken tire. You see this goddamn thing all over the place. I'm sorry, I'm swearing. I'm sorry, I'm frustrated, but I'm just sick and tired. I'm headed up to here with the lack of patriotism, and the division among Americans is so divisive. It's not even funny.
Oh yeah, we're literally, Sas. We're becoming a nation. Like if we do not get ourselves together, we're gonna lose it all. We're gonna lose it all. I want to go into a segment here with Sas that he came in shortly, about 20 minutes ago, into the conversation with Jimmy, the Rant, and I. And I'm sorry, Jimmy's not on the show anymore, folks. He lost connection. He actually said that he's going between Jersey and Philly, and I think that's where he lost the connection. Bad reception in that area. I know that area very well, and there's a lot of bad reception there. But there was a conversation between, and I hope I hope you don't mind. I go here on the show, but it needs to be addressed, Sauce. Basically, on social media, where the division right now on social media is out of control, Sauce.
Oh yes.
Control. I seen it earlier today on Soslan's page, on his social media page, where the people are literally showing so much dangerous rhetoric.
Yep.
I said this to Sas off the air. Having an argument is one thing, but going into a type of conversation in that argument is another.
Yeah.
I've never seen so much crap in my life. The type of dangerous, the rhetoric is dangerous, Sauce. It's beyond dangerous. It's extreme.
Yeah. And you know what's even more extreme is that you're seeing it within these so-called Republican figures.
The so-called Republican figures.
So, for instance, Brock Maddox, who is out of Wisconsin, who runs Wisconsin Freedom Fighters, who's all about freedom and it's all about like preserving this country. He showed his true colors, his true colors last night when he stated that, while she was satanic and stuff, and that you're showing a lot of true colors when people like start putting that kind of scary rhetoric, and it's from both sides. So you're truly seeing that this country is really becoming divided at a deep core subject, and this it's very psychotic. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from all sorts of people messaging me from Wales. I have people in England that's just blown up my messaging and state that what they're seeing is a complete circus, and it's absolutely disrespectful beyond to the Queen Elizabeth, to her passing, that they can't wait 10 days after 10 days of mourning to like show their frustration. And I'm like, I'm lost at words. Even my own family has contacted me from England and state that, wow, your country's become a joke. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't really help that. It's where this country's at.
Yeah. Again, folks, if we lose this country, there's no other country on this planet that we can mimic off to create a better nation. There's no other country, folks. This is the last remaining of a utopia, of a paradise that we call America. There's no other nation on this planet. Trust me, folks, by I say this. I'm not just saying it to say it. Sas, right? There's no other land in this world to recreate.
No.
We're the last remaining sovereignty.
Yep. And I don't know what more we have to do. What more do we, and this is where I have to say, this is the last beacon light of hope. A lot of people come to this country looking for hope, looking for freedom, looking to live the American dream. And now it breaks my heart to know that when they come to this country now, they have to fight for this country again. Like I addressed to a huge rally on Friday night. I said, I have fled communism to only fight communism again in America. But this time around, I don't think I'll be able to make it fully through fighting through this communism, because people will undermine you. It might be your best friend, it might be your enemy, and it might be your same political party that you agree with. That you're probably not. They're going to physically and attack you and stuff for what you believe, and it shows that you can't be too patriotic, even in America. That if you're too patriotic, they go after you, and
Yeah.
they're considered a white supremacist. Well, you know what? Maybe we should. You know what, Michael? You know what you and I should do? Maybe we'll get some better friends. Why don't we start posting? Why don't we just start posting, why I hate America so much? Maybe we'll get a book deal from CNN or something like that. I'm being sarcastic, by the way.
Yeah, you won't see me. They could offer me every damn offer in the world. I will never sell out my country. Never sell out my country.
I was being sarcastic. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand where you were going at. But folks, I'll say it again, and I'll say it till the cows come home. You can offer me every offer in the world. I will never sell out my country. I will never become a turncoat. I will never become radicalized. I will never become un-American. I will always support this country until my last breath. I will continue fighting for freedom. I will continue fighting for liberty. I will continue fighting for the American dream. The American dream is still alive. It's still alive. It's just basically being held in shackles right now by very evil people that hate this country.
Yep. And the only way I'm going to give up my freedom is the moment that I get to cross that finish line and I get to meet Jesus. Other than that, I'm still fighting for freedom, and I'm not going to give up.
Yeah. And like I said, maybe this episode, folks, wasn't for you today. I did remind the listeners, folks. I did remind you guys that this episode will be very sincere, will be sad, but yet very frustrating at times, because all four of us today that was on this show, myself, Soslan, Jimmy the Rant, and Joseph, have different sides of how we viewed 9/11 21 years ago. Some of it made us, put in a personal type of corner. Some of us made us very angry. Some of it made us very bitter. Some of it made us very sad. We all come from all different walks of life, Sas. And just because somebody's upset with something, that's their own personal demeanor. Let it go, folks. Let it go. Some of the stuff you see on social media, half of that shit shouldn't even be aired on social media. I know this country, Sas, is fighting through the bitterness and turmoil. I see it. I see people crying out every single day saying that there is so much potential in the United States of America, so much of this, so much of that. I know people are hurt.
Yep. And country's going to a point where this country's going to be at a point where we're going to be going through a major change. And I feel like midterms will be the break that might just break the camel's back. You see it in Wisconsin. You see it. I mean, Wisconsin is the forefront of it. Wisconsin might just, we are so, talk about, the reason why I focus on Wisconsin is because, in the next coming episodes, we're going to come out with an episode talking about what really happened in the Capitol, like with the committee hearing. That might just break the camel's back with the findings and with this midterms in Wisconsin, because it's not only Wisconsin, but it's within America that, there's people are waking up and starting to realize that the government has been going after them, and it's been very sickening what the government's been doing, and people are sick and tired and fed up with it and saying, I thought you guys were along with us. I thought you guys were patriotic. I thought you guys love us. And I thought you guys were, you guys want to help better this nation. But
yeah, apparently not. Hold that thought, Sas. I got to get a quick break in here, guys. I want to remind the listeners that tuning into this, the 15th, actually, we had a really good conversation earlier this morning before we aired this episode. I had a conversation with the therapy twins, Joan and Jane. They were, I got to say, a very comical type of, women. They're identical. It was hard to tell them apart. They both look alike. But guys, you want to check out that full episode. It was pre-recorded. It will be launching this upcoming 15th. The reason why we're airing it 4 days later is because due to the type of shows that are coming up. We have some shows coming up this Monday or tomorrow. Sas and I are going to have a show about the type of crap that's affecting the state of Wisconsin tomorrow. You want to tune into that.
Shortly after that, on Tuesday, we're going to have an episode with another gentleman, another author, another writer. Getting a lot of author and writers on the show. It's great. I love seeing different backgrounds of books and writers and authors and everything else. So tune into that on Tuesday. And then also, too, later in the week, we're going to have a gentleman coming in from the UK. He is a scientist. That will be Wednesday, folks. So tune in on Wednesday. And then Friday, we're going to have a woman explaining her story about a car crash that affected her life. Literally, I mean, but it's just a tremendous amount of guests coming on the show.